Hi, everyone. It's Nadine Gilkison again. We're here to do our next PD session with the wonderful Katie Bradford from 5-Star Technology Solutions. Katie is going to be doing a presentation about taking back your tabs. All right, Katie.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. If you are here because you're like, okay, my Chrome situation is a mess and I'm gonna need a little bit of help because I got stuff everywhere, this is the spot for you. So we are going to do just a quick, like 30 minutes or less, take a look at some tips and tricks that we can do to take back your tabs and organize your Chrome situation. So that way your life is a little bit more organized when you're using your digital environment. Especially I think about this as you all have been teaching in remote situations or hybrid situations. And honestly, some of these tips would be great for your kiddos to take back to the classroom as well. So I'm super excited to share with you just some time-saving tips that will make your life a lot easier. Like Nadine said, I'm Katie Bradford, and I'm the Associate Director of Professional Development with 5-Star and super responsive on Twitter and email. So if you have any questions past this, you are welcome to drop those in our Facebook group or shoot me an email or send me a message on Twitter. And the cool thing about our company is we are a Google for Education partner, so we get to share all these good goodies with you all the time, which is awesome. All right, let's dig in and kind of take a look at where you are at. So if you are here live with us, I'm really curious if you could just type a number in the chat. Which of these gifts kind of represents how you feel about your Chrome tab situation? So if you feel like, man, my tabs are awesome, I'm doing good in Chrome, you can type a 1. Or, if, it's just a big hot mess, you can always type a 6. And so type in those numbers in the chat if you're here live with us. I'm just curious where people are at to see how you're doing. And if not, we'll check back in with you later because there's kind of a wide range of us all over the place on our Chrome tab situation. I'm not going to lie to you. There was a good time where I was a number 2. I had stopped caring. I just let it happen because I had so many tabs open all the time. But now that I know about all these tips, I'm more at a 1, feeling pretty good about these things. So we're going to dig in and take a look at some tips that we can do to make you a 1 or a 5, right? You're going to feel good about your tabs after this. All right. So as we get going, these are the things we're going to take a look at. We're going to take a look at how do we pin our tabs. And you might know how to do this, but we're going to think about why this is important and why this is helpful for us. We're going to take a look at how to reopen closed tabs. This is Chrome magic. In case you accidentally get click happy, you are able to reopen those babies back up to where they were. A newer feature in Chrome, which I am loving and is saving my life as I have multiple projects going on, is the ability to group my tabs. And we're going to learn how to search tabs, which is a new feature. And I'm even going to give you a little bit of a hack to get into that if you don't see that option inside of your Google Chrome profile yet. And then lastly, I'll just share some keyboard shortcuts. I'm a right clicker, so that's what I like to do. I right click on my tabs, but there are lots of keyboard shortcuts that you can do to avoid those right clicks if that's what you are into. So let's try some of these out. Let's take a look. One of the first things you can do is pin your tabs. And again, a lot of people use Chrome and they never know that you can actually do this. I am someone who gets click happy when I am in Google Chrome, and it makes it so that I can make my tabs really little and they will show up on the left-hand side of my browser. This makes it so I don't have a little X and I cannot close out of my tab. So right now on my screen, you can see on the GIF or you can see up on my Chrome browser, I have this very little Google Slides presentation tab that I accidentally can't close out of because I don't want to do that. I'm in a presentation. So this makes it really easy for me to keep that safe for me right here in my browser. And I can pin multiple tabs. So if I want to do that, I could actually flip over and I could go up to any of my open tabs. And notice I have quite a few going on up here. I could put my mouse on the tab that I would want to pin. I can right click and choose pin. This is going to make it so now my Gmail tab is also very small and I can flip back and forth between these. Again, I can't accidentally close out of these and it makes it easy for me to see more of my tabs. I'm going to do the same thing with my calendar. I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose pin. Once I have these pinned, I can reorder these tabs any way that I would like. I could drag and drop them in the order that makes sense to me. And I, again, don't have to close out of these babies. This is really helpful. As a teacher, I think about all the times I went into the classroom, and the very first thing every single day that I would do is I would open my email, I would open my Google Drive, and I would open my attendance. And I would want these things pinned because I needed to use them all day long. Now you might pin your Google Classroom tab or your Learning Management tab because you're going to be using that all day long. This is something I would recommend for students as well. If they are going to be using their learning management system all day long, have them pin their tab so that way they can easily get to it and they won't close out of it. Now you're like, okay, Katie, I got these pinned. What do I do next when I am done with them? If I am done and I want to close out of them, again, it's pretty easy. I'm just going to right click on that tab and I'm going to choose unpin. And that allows me to open that baby back up and close out of it if I need to. All right. Next one is reopening closed tabs. Now, again, pinning your tabs is helpful, but if you get click happy and you do happen to close out of things. So for example, if I accidentally close out of my email and then I accidentally close out of my Google Drive and I'm like, oh, shoot, I needed those websites. I'm going to need to get back to that. And so typically most people would just open a new tab and then reopen their email or reopen their Google Drive. You don't have to do that. All I need to do is go to the right of my Chrome browser. And again, I'm just up at the top of my browser. I'm going to right click and choose reopen closed tab. Now there is a keyboard shortcut for this. So if you're a keyboard shortcut kind of person on a Chromebook or a Microsoft device, you could do Control-Shift-T. If you're on a Mac, it would be Command-Shift-T. But for me, I'm right clicking and choosing reopen closed tab. It's going to reopen my Google Drive. I can do that one more time, reopen closed tab, and it's going to reopen that Gmail. So I am able to do this up to 10 times. If I close 10 different tabs, I can open the past 10 tabs that I have closed. This is really helpful if you are doing research, if you have a lot of Google tabs open and you're like, I have no idea what I was even on. I don't even know what happened. How do I get back to that site that I was on? All I have to do is move my mouse over to the blank space next to that plus sign to the right side of your Google Chrome browser, right click and choose reopen tab or use that keyboard shortcut. This is really helpful too. When you're in person with your kids, I used to use this as a classroom management option a lot when I was walking around the classroom and the kids would automatically click out of stuff really fast and they'd be like, see, I'm working. No, nothing to see here. I'd be like, oh, really? And I would reopen their past tabs and I would be like, oh, math games. Oh, YouTube. Oh, interesting. And then this would help me have a conversation with my students about digital citizenship and also staying on task and checking in with what websites my kids were visiting. So again, just another way to kind of make your life a little bit easier inside of Google Chrome. Now, this is the one I'm most excited to share because this is the feature that has changed my life. We are now able to group tabs in Google Chrome, and this allows you to kind of put similar tasks together. And it also helps condense the crazy number of tabs that you have across the top of your browser. So if I want to group my tabs, I'm going to be thinking about what things am I doing together? What projects am I working on together? And what things could I put into the same group? So for example, my email and Google Drive, these are just my basic work things. These are things I'm opening and using on a regular basis, but I don't necessarily need to see them. In order to create a new group inside of your Google Chrome browser, you can right click, and then you're going to see the option Add Tab to New Group. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I don't have any groups created at this point, so I'm going to need to create one. I'm going to need to make a new group. So I'm going to just call this work. Of course, I love my color coding. Elementary teacher in me is loving that. So I'm going to go ahead and pick blue. And right now, I have just my email in that group. If I wanted to add more tabs, so like my Google Drive, if I wanted that to be in this group as well, a couple things I could do. I could right click, choose add to group, and now I'm going to see that work group there, so I could easily add it that way. Or I could have just dragged it. So I can drag and drop things into those groups as well, and that's going to automatically see how it's going blue. Now it is in that group. You're like, oh, okay, it's color-coded. Great, Katie. Now here's the magic part of this. If I want to condense this because I am not specifically looking at these tabs or dealing with these tabs right now, I'm working on another project, I can click on the actual group name and click work. And now those tabs are condensed into this smaller group. I'm going to do the same thing for these slides and these documents that I have. I'm going to make a new one. So again, I'm going to right click. I'm going to choose add tab to group. And this time I'm going to make a new group. So I'm going to call this project. I'm going to go ahead and make this one pink. And now I'm going to move all these other tabs over here into this group. And again, I'm just dragging and dropping, and I know they're all in that group because they are all in this pink section. And when I want to condense these, I can click on projects and they are now grouped together. My browser looks a lot neater and it's easier for me to find what I'm looking for. When I'm ready to open these back up and find what I can, see what I added to these groups, I can click on the name again. And if for whatever reason I'm done with all these, if I don't need them anymore, I can right click and I could ungroup them so I could take them apart, or I could close the entire group. So that way I'm totally done with this project. I don't need these tabs open anymore. And this is helpful if you have like 20 tabs, which is normally what I have open. I could close this group and that would close all the tabs at once. Or for whatever reason, if you wanted to move these to a totally new window, you have that option. So it would take them out of this window and put it in a separate one, which is helpful if you're doing like remote teaching and you're working with 2 monitors or something like that. That's going to make your life a lot easier. You don't have to reopen all these tabs in lots of different windows. Again, this is a really helpful feature, and this has organized my Google Chrome life the most.
And I agree with you, Katie. I absolutely love that update.
Yes, I love it. All right. One of the last features that I want to show you is a new updated feature in Google Chrome. And you may not even have this on your device yet. It's starting to show up on some Chromebooks, but on my Mac, I did not have this option. And people were talking about it. And I was like, what? I want to be able to search my tabs. I want to see what I have. I want to know what's out there. So I wanted to have this be an option. So I know that right now I have this ability to search my tabs because in Google Chrome, I now have in the upper right of my browser this little down arrow, this caret that says search tabs when I hover over it. So if I were to click this, I'm going to be able to drop down and search through all my tabs. It's showing me all of them that I have open right now. Normally I have way more than this. And so I would be able to be like, okay, I know that I have a tab open somewhere that's about my friend Molly, and I'm just going to start typing her name in so that way I can look for that. And it's going to be like, hey, Katie, is this the tab that you want? And I could say, yeah, I want Molly's fun facts. So I could go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take me directly to that tab. It's still in the group too, which is totally awesome. I'm using all these features at once. Again, I can click that down arrow and I'm like, okay, I know somewhere I have Gmail. Oh, I closed out of Gmail, so I don't. I'm going to look for my calendar. Oh, there it's calendar. Great. I'm going to click on calendar and it's going to take me back to calendar. Even if it's pinned, I'm still able to search for those tabs. Now, if you do not have this right now, I'm going to give you the hack in Google Chrome to add this to your browser so you can try this out and you can now search through your tabs to make your life a lot easier. And to enable this feature, which is kind of like a new feature, you're going to need to go to Chrome://flags, and you're able to turn on this feature. So I'll show you what that looks like. So just in a new tab, you can go to Chrome. You spell it right, // and then you're going to go to flags. This is going to show you any of the experimental things that Chrome has going on, and you can turn on and enable some of these features. If you don't see the enabled tab search, which is what I'm using listed here, you could just search enable tab search. And it's going to look for you. And then you could turn that on. You could go ahead and enable that. So then you would have that option in your browser and you would be able to search through your tabs. Again, this is really helpful if you have many, many, many tabs open, which again, right now, just for this demo purpose, I don't have that many, but I know all of you as teachers, I know how many tabs you got open. I've seen them. Okay. So let's be real about that. So that would make your life a lot easier. I think this would be really helpful for our students as well, as they typically forget to close tabs. And so if you're trying to help them look for something, they're like, I know I have it open or I know I was using it. That's going to help you help them because you don't know how they've been managing their tabs or what they have open. And so that feature would be helpful to your students as well. All right. Last thing, like I said, I'm a right clicker. That's what I do. And that's totally fine if you're someone who manages your Chrome browser that way, but there are some keyboard shortcuts that you can use instead. So just quick and easy, if you want a new tab, you got the Control or Command N that will easily open a new tab rather than clicking that plus sign. So I could hit on my Mac, Command N, and that's going to give me a new tab. I could close my current tab. So if for whatever reason I wanted to close out of one without actually clicking the X, I could do Command W or Control W, depending on the device you're on. Again, that reopen close tab, I showed you how you could right click and do that. But again, if you're a keyboard shortcut kind of person, you could do Control Shift T or Command Shift T. And then this is my favorite one that I actually do this keyboard shortcut. I could easily move between tabs so I don't have to click on each one, especially again, if I have a lot of tabs open, I'm able to navigate through them really easily by doing Control Shift and then your brackets to move either left or right, or on a Mac, Command Shift left or right. And that's going to make it so I can easily navigate my tab. So my mouse is here on my screen in the middle, but I'm going to go ahead and try that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Command Shift, and I'm going to hit my bracket, and I'm just going to start moving through my tabs. Now do notice that unless my groups are open, it will not hit all of those groups. So I have to have those open in order to see them, but it does allow me to easily navigate through all my tabs. And if you're like, oh, it's somewhere, rather than using that search feature, if you just want to flip through them really quickly, that's an easy way to go through and do that as well. So here's the thing. Google Chrome is awesome. We use it on a regular basis. We probably have a bazillion tabs open. Hopefully some of these tips and tricks have been something that you can take back and use yourself to manage your time, to manage your Chrome tabs, or share back with your students as you get back into the classroom. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Katie, for your time today.
Of course.